Alrighty, welcome to the 13th episode of Pelagaius. I'm your humble GM, the Emerald Emperor. So,
We're gonna die.
Kustrak, since you are the one unconscious at the moment, I want you to give me a recap of what happened last session.
Oh shit. Okay. Was invaded. Everyone went fucking crazy. They all got stupid sickness. We had to go out into the middle of the fucking nowhere and get this herb thing, and then we came back, and everyone was fucking crazy, even harder.
Don't
And
forget about the shark.
the fucking sharks started chasing us down. Well, chasing Rudy and was it Rudy? Yeah, Rudy and the core down. Underwater, but we're all fine now. We got back to ducks and gore. Somehow, through the miracle of the gods and stupid fucking luck, duplicated started mass producing all of the stupid herb we got, and we're starting to make the potion heal the townspeople. But guess what? There's a fucking zombie invasion, and Rudy on his giant beetle gathered all the zombies into the market square. Two-Struck ran in, got all their attentions, ran into a building, and jumped out of the building just as Rudy collapsed with his beetle, and Two-Struck fell unconscious and died. Well, not died.
Is completely and utterly unconscious, and we have no idea what happened to him.
He forgot to mention Kitlin went nearly crazy and drowned herself.
Right. Yeah, Kitlin went crazy.
Alright, so, having left off where we did, Kitlin, you see the building that Kustrak ran into get rammed by the giant scarab that Rudy is riding. The building collapses. It takes out any and all, as far as you can tell, undead that were within it. As well as the way it was hit, it also collapses and takes out roughly half of the remaining horde. Alright?
Okay.
So, what are you doing at this point? You do not see Kustrak come out from the rubble.
I am going to jump down and start looking around. One, for any zombies, and then two, start digging around rubble.
There's still a sizable horde down on the ground.
Shit.
And the rubble is on fire.
Shit. Fuck. I'm gonna do. Ah. I'm thinking, give me a minute. Fuck it, I'm gonna go down.
Okay, you're dropping to the city street below.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm quiet about it.
All right, go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
Difficulty?
The difficulty of said stealth check is going to be average, because right now the zombies are all kind of like, oh, fire, crackle, crackle, crackle. They won't necessarily hear you unless you do something really big.
Okay, so 2 purple. Got it.
Yep.
Stealth is yellow and greens. Two yellow, green, and 2. Green, purple. Alright. My internet's acting kind of funky slow today.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage when you're ready.
Alright. I rolled it and it's not. Alright, there it goes. A minute.
Wow, your internet is really slow tonight.
Yeah, I know. You want me to do it again, or is it going to come up? I'll do it again.
Yeah, you might have to. Up there it goes. It just popped up.
There it is.
All right. So, skitter, down the side of the building you go. With nary a sound to be heard over the roaring of the flames and the crackling of it and the god-awful moan that you've come to associate the undead with. As you climb down, you feel something wet just strike the back of your head.
Ow.
Small, very small, almost like a marble-sized something, and it just kind of boop, hits you on the back of the head.
I'm gonna touch my head first and then look around.
Okay. As you look around, another small boop hits you right in the eye.
Ow!
It doesn't hurt, but it's wet. And as you blink it away, you start to feel every now and again another small boop against your skin, and you'll hear it as it hits your armor.
Okay, what's going on? I look around.
As you look around, you realize, it's starting to rain.
Fuck. I'm starting to dig.
Okay. How are you digging with the fire burning the rubble?
Well, I have blood on my hand, so.
So you're just grabbing pieces that aren't actively on fire at the moment?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Okay. Let me roll to see if the zombies notice you, because they're not necessarily distracted by much else.
And if I pick up a hot one, I'm gonna throw it.
What is your stealth? Oh, hold on, it's 2 yellow. 2 yellows are green. Or 2 yellows. Okay, there we go. Okay. Unfortunately, due to you coming within their line of sight, trying to dig out the rubble, they obviously notice you. Luckily for you, they're going to have to kind of go a long way around just to get to you, because they have the burning building between you and them.
Right.
So you see them start, a few kind of meander forward trying to get to you. The rest start to kind of ease their way around.
All right. I'm going to continue to dig, and I'm going to pray that whoever God Kustar's been praying, that I find his ass.
All right. For this, we're going to bounce to Tyson. Tyson, what are you doing, sir?
Making potions.
Okay. By this point in time, because it's been about an hour to 2 hours, you've managed to fill up most, if not all, of the crates that are within this warehouse. As you're getting through that, you start to see sailors and etc. bringing more crates and escorting these crates out. Apparently, you are rapid fire putting out these potions.
Well, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Okay.
Yep, I'm just gonna keep doing it. That's all I'm okay doing that. I'm watching my kids at the pool. So this is perfect.
All right. Cool. All right. So back to Christina. Christina, the zombies by this point have started to make their way around the burning section, and you can hear them as they start kind of coming up to you. You've cleared away a decent-sized bit of the rubble, at least what you're able to lift, because a lot of this stuff is still very heavy beams and siding that you just cannot physically lift by yourself. But the undead are starting to get closer. And unfortunately, as you continue, the rain starts to get a little heavier. And you're starting to see the fire starting to dampen out in the smaller sections that it's on fire with.
All right. Is there any place to hide?
If you wanted to climb back up a building, go into a building, something along those lines, there's plenty of places to hide. You just have to kind of tell me what you're wanting.
I want to hide somewhere, like back on top of the building.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an athletics check to climb up the building, or a coordination if you can, to see if you can acrobat your way up.
Difficulty?
It's going to be average, but I'm going to introduce a setback due to the rain. As it starts pattering down a little more, it's a little stuff starting to get wet.
So 1 black, 1 purple?
Yep.
Damn!
Oh.
As you kind of look around, you realize that the falling building actually damaged some of the other stuff, making it almost impossible to climb to the roofs from where you're at. And the undead are getting closer.
I am going to find a place nearby to hide.
There's nothing nearby. Either you go into the flames to hide, or you have to run away, essentially. Those are your two options.
Then I'm going into the flames and hide. Shit.
All right, so go ahead and roll me a resilience check. Well, that took a.
I can't leave him.
that took a different turn. All right. Actually, never mind. You just wander in. Christina, you take 2 points of or you take 2 wounds in damage from walking into the fire.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, at the moment.
I know.
Okay. So, how are you keeping track of this, by the way, Christina? Are you doing like a separate sheet, or are you doing it on your token? Oh,
I'm
never
doing
mind.
it
I
on my
just saw it
token.
on your token. Okay.
I'm doing it on my token. It's
All
good.
right. So as you step into the flames and crunch around looking, it's burning. Your hair, you can smell burnt hair. Something fierce.
Well, yeah, it's my own.
Yeah, pretty much. You keep wandering in. At one point, you see the undead behind you, but they stop at the flames, and they just kind of moan at you. You start to feel the pitter-patter of the rain come down a little harder, quenching some of the fire, but not enough at the moment to completely quell it. Christina, you take another 3 points of damage for being in the fire.
Okay.
What are you doing now?
I am going to keep the fire in front of me and run the opposite way.
Okay, so you're going to head out into the market area then.
Yes.
Okay, there's a lot of zombies still there too, though.
Is there any way that is there any place that are not zombies that I could run?
You could run towards like the Craftsman district.
Then that's the direction I'll run.
Okay, so you run that way.
Sorry, Kushtrak, I'll be back.
All right, so you run, you get somewhere over into there. All right, so Kushtrak, go ahead and give me a cool check, a simple cool check.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Hardy Dwarf.
All right.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, you do not wake up yet.
Damn it.
Your dreams are fevered, filled with burning buildings and the moan of the dead. Essentially, you picture yourself inside a burning sarcophagus. You are extremely hot, but you can't get out, because if you do, the undead await, just behind, all around you. And yet, every now and again, you feel a tip, 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 gentle coolness touching your face.
Okay, I'm gonna stealth around and find my way to Gore's.
Okay. So you meander through the Craftsman's district, avoiding most of the undead, and you head for the docks.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, so you're roughly there. Kushtrak, give me another cool check. Simple.
Come on, buddy. Come on, make it a success. Come on, please make it a success.
Come on.
Nope.
The coolness of your face is getting, like, it spreads. At first it was just like gentle touches on your cheek, but now you're feeling it almost like a woman's hand upon your face. Gentle, caressing, almost. But still inside the burning sarcophagus. As you continue to dream, it feels as though the sarcophagus is actually getting smaller, and it's pushing upon you. And you can hear the undead above you, and it's almost like they're throwing their body weight on top of this, and it's slowly pushing you down into the bottom of the sarcophagus, and you're hearing like little bits of dirt flaking away. Christina, or Kitlin, you make it back to the docks where you see Gores. Essentially, you see crates being moved out, not super quick, but every 5-10 minutes or so, a crate is moved out and a new crate is brought in. The one that's moved out is full of potions. The one that's brought in, empty. And you're seeing more and more people gathering here at this point. At the same time, you also see several of the maids that were brought by Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
They have just arrived. One of them is clutching a bleeding arm. The rest look very disheveled, some of them burning, like their clothes have been burnt a little bit. All of them look extremely scared, a little tired, and they're just happy to be where there are people. So what do you do?
I'm gonna shout Gore's name.
Gores, as you sit making your potions, you hear a cry from Kitlin, calling your name. What do you do?
I don't do anything. I mean, she can walk in the building. I'm just gonna keep making my potion. Oh, wait. I'm gonna send what's her name? Not Golem.
Penem?
Penem. Yeah, I'm gonna send Penem. Go see what she needs. You know I'm busy.
Okay.
Unless she is dying or dead, I need to keep making these potions for the people.
All right.
Can I hear that, or am I waiting for her?
I don't know. What were you doing when you called Gores' name?
I'm looking for him. I'm wandering the warehouse trying to find him amongst all the crates.
Okay. As you wander in, because you essentially called for Gores at the entrance to it, you don't overhear that, but you see Penem come out from behind like all these crates, and you catch a vague glimpse of Gores at a crafts table.
A bunch of guards?
And guards as well. You do see guards as well around the area protecting Gores. Miss Kitlin, my master wishes to inquire why you called.
What's that? Kushnak is unconscious. There are zombies in the city. We need to take care of this shit now, and I need to go find him.
Penem calmly turns around, walks to Gores, and begins to relay this to Gores. Okay. And I quote, Master, she said, "We don't have time for this shit. There are zombies in the streets."
Well,
I look at the guards at the same time.
Never abandoned Kustrak and tried better looking. There's nothing I can do. I have to save these people. She is very resourceful. I don't know why she left him and came all the way here. He's probably dead by now.
Kustrak, go ahead and roll me another cool check. Keep in mind, you guys do have story points to use here.
Yeah.
I know. No,
all right, Kustrak, you wake up with 3 strain.
Ow!
All right.
I thought successes did strain.
They did. You got 3 successes.
No, I mean I thought advantage.
No. Advantages don't do anything in this check, in this style of check.
Okay.
All right. So Kustrak, you find yourself face down. Essentially, your head's tilted to either the left or the right. Doesn't really matter. And you're basically pinned underneath the side of this building. The gentle pitter-patter that you felt and the gentle caress essentially is rain as it comes down upon you. As you lie there, basically face first in the mud, as you kind of try to push yourself up, you find that you can't. Just simply because you have a collapsed part of the wall pinching you to the ground. Which, by the way, you take a total... actually, let me roll that, just to see how much damage you took from the building collapsing partially on you.
I was expecting you to go into my character and just slowly take down my health while Kitlin was doing things.
Luckily for you, when the wall collapsed, the way it collapsed, it hit another building, damaging it more than it did you. Ignoring soak, you took 4 points of damage.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, luckily whatever armor and whatever your god was favorable as hell to you during this. Apparently it is the stuff of his champion.
Book wants me to come back and save the city. Can I use a stork and say to her book and have a beam light come down and rejuvenate and bring me back up? Or is that a little too far?
If you would like to use a story point for aid, I will allow you to use a story point for aid. However, I will not. I'm not going to let you choose the manner in which you get that aid.
That's sad. Okay.
Away it goes.
Yeah, I definitely will that.
Okay, so you spend a story point, and for the most part, kind of what you said comes to pass. A break in the storm opens up, a beam of light comes down upon your face, and you feel closer to your god. And then you start to hear slashing and muffled curses. With what little power you're able to from your position, you turn your head and look further down past yourself, where you can see two figures. You can't tell who they are because you can't get direct line of sight to them, but out of your peripheral you see two figures, both with swords, slashing into the horde.
Kushtrak yells out, Hey, over here! We got a bunch of them with this build. I got I was running into this building and they all followed me. So like, can you come help me? Hey.
As you cry out, at first you don't think that they heard you, but then, as with one fluid motion, you see a glint of metal, and then you feel somebody reaching under and helping you to pull the weight off of your back. And you're able to basically slide using the mud as kind of a lubricant to help move you faster out from underneath, and then you just hear a crunch as this building just finishes and collapses to the ground.
Oh, goodness. I thought I was going to die under there. The book really saved my ass there. Great to be a hook book. Anyway, I look up at them finally after talking for 30 seconds.
And this is exactly who you see by your side fighting. You see the vampire warrioress with two swords slashing and keeping the zombies at bay. You see the vampire brother is the one that rescued you.
Thank you. My name is Kushtrak. I'm champion of the book. Saver of... I forgot the name of the place. Anyway.
Can you fight
Who are you?
champion of Habuk? Or follower of Habuk?
Champion of Habuk. Is my higher...
You find your halberd actually had rolled up against the building adjacent to you, and you're able to get it out after minimal resistance.
Yeah, I pull it out. Hell yeah, I fight. Let's fuck shit up.
I may like dwarves after all. And he literally just kind of turns, but it looks elegant and graceful. He walks back. His sister continues to slice and dice at these undead. And eventually, there comes a point where you just see the flash of metal again, and then he's fighting with one of her swords, and she's back to a single hand. You hear some moaning coming up from behind both of them. He looks over. If you'll handle that, Sir Dwarf, I think we'll handle these.
Fair enough. And I turn around and dish my weapon.
And you see a small horde coming your way. At least 60 individuals.
Alright.
Back to Christina and Gores.
I'm looking at the guard. More zombies. We need to take care of that shit before it gets worse. I'm sure she's got potions to make. And I'll walk off.
Okay? As you dart outside, Gores, Kushtrak, both of you roll your magic skills. And
roll what?
Actually, never mind. I'm not going to have you guys roll. As you guys do what you were doing, Kushtrak, you have just engaged in the zombies. Gores, you are essentially continuing to craft potions, and you're getting tired. It has been just potion after potion after potion for you. Both of you, immediately, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You feel something through the air. You can't physically see it and you can't physically hear it. You can't even physically feel it. But in the back of your mind, your primal instincts are screaming that something bad is going to happen in the next few seconds.
Eh, oh God. So what I'm gonna do?
You go
I
first.
know. Oh, well, go ahead, Chris Rick. You go first.
Give me time to think. You go first.
All right. So I like to use a story point that just maybe I'm gonna use a story point and put it out there that the weapons the demon might have or the angel. That through the link, I get the sense of if someone's about to blow up the city or some big, like just get a, maybe I need to put up a shield, something along those lines.
Okay.
That would be my story point. I'm just real quick, and then I'm going to do something in response to it.
Okay. As this tension builds for you, you see Penem. Normally very kind of rigid and robotic at this point in time. You've tried helping past that point, but it's still kind of stuck at that. You suddenly get the feeling that you can see a true emotion come through. And it isn't... essentially the emotion you get, and it flows through your connection to your familiar, or to your pet, essentially. Hatred. Pure, unrefined hatred. That is the only emotion you get.
All right, Chris Rick, you're up. Give me 1 second.
Okay. How far am I away from the two vampires?
You're essentially at this point, you're maybe 10 feet from them, give or take, just because of how close
Okay.
you're getting pushed back by the horde, because this is a lot of zombies.
Okay. Can I disengage and jump back and do a shield around all three of them?
Sure.
Just like a general shield.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and roll the spell.
Okay. That's it. Oh, and use my encounter to just have to worry about the strength. My
Say that one more time.
once per encounter to get 2 strain back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. What's the difficulty?
Let's see, because you're doing it for 3 people. Essentially, it's going to be a hard divine check.
Okay. That is hard. Is 3 or 4?
3. So it'd be an average for you because of your banner.
Yeah.
All right, you step instead of jumping back, you just boop 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 gently walk back after having brought down one of the undead before you. It's just a fluid slash, step step, huh! And suddenly this glowing golden barrier tinged with blue appears around you and the two vampires with you. All 3 of you are breathing heavily at this point. You more so from exhaustion from having a building collapse on you, them from having fought their way to you, as well as keeping them off of you. The other undead begin to press up against the barrier. You feel that it will hold for at least a few minutes, but not much longer than that.
Shit's about to hit the fan. That's all I say to them.
Both of them kind of look back at you kind of oddly, but that feeling that is going on the back of your guys' necks is getting worse. The storm actually seems to resonate with it and becomes that much fiercer. Lightning comes down and strikes a building, just blowing it apart in front of you. The pieces actually hit the barrier and pierce through several of the zombies. And we're talking splinters the size of beams going through zombies and hitting your barrier. Gores, on your side.
Wait.
Go ahead. What's up?
Do I get to react?
Yes, you get... I was going to describe what's happening on your side.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. The feeling begins to peak, or not peak, but get worse. As you're crafting these potions, the hatred that you're feeling from Pen M is just getting more and more razor sharp. So much so to this point, you're having trouble actually deciphering between your own feelings and her hatred. It is starting to take over. It is that strong.
So I'm gonna do. Gosh dang it! And it feels like something's coming. So I want to. Man, I'm already saving the city. It would just suck if something like undead or black energy or like the storm, whatever, just fucking killed the entire fucking city. So I assume most of the people that are still living are running towards the docks. I'm gonna try to erect a massive shield of holy power, you know, a barrier infused with holiness, like the radiance of the sun, for a very large distance.
Okay. Since you're doing this as an area effect, um, uh, do you have access to the divine spellcasting ability? Because I remember you having something along those lines.
I do have it, but this is a barrier, so I have access to it as a divine and a wizard.
Okay. So between the two of them, for what you're trying to do, it's going to require you to use just the divine skill, essentially.
Okay.
Hold on while I get to the page I need here, because I want to make sure that this is exactly what I think it is. Because if it is, this is going to be... You're going to be a bastion in a sea of darkness, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a daunting Arcana check, or Divine, whichever's higher. At this point, I'm going to allow it to be Arcana because you're more of a wizard.
So 4 purple?
4 purple.
Oh god, so I'm going to use my... So I have signature spell as a barrier. Can I use it for this?
In this case, I'm going to say no, because what you're actually casting, in addition to just a standard barrier, is actually Sanctuary. So you're creating an area that is protected.
Okay, can I increase it by 2 red to make it a larger area?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a story point, though, in on top of that to make it 3 red, 1 purple.
Okay, so 3 red, 1 purple. Okay, I'm going to use my once per session so I can... My skill is equal to my intelligence, so I'm going to roll 5 yellow.
Go ahead and roll it.
Good lord. I'm so nervous.
I cannot wait to see this. Come on, roll it.
Roll it. Roll good. Roll high.
Purple. I got 2 blue. Alright, here we go.
Got it.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, Tyson. As you cast, you feel this font of magical energy, unlike anything you have ever felt before, flow into you. A little bit of dark, mostly light. As you delve into this, your pure energy field, which would normally be only able to affect, essentially to keep out the beings that are your antithesis, because of your little bit of dark, essentially you have made it where like regular humans and just like the goodly quote-unquote races are able to enter into this area that you have created. Essentially, it encompasses the extent of about 4 city blocks, is roughly, and in this time, not our time. So about a mile, maybe, worth of energy that is protecting the people. So most of the docks that you're at is now covered by this divine barrier.
And I see that, right?
Oh, hell yeah. All of you see this. Suddenly a spark of light tinged with black lightning spirals up to the heavens.
So Kustra, your small shield, and you see this large bubble. Run before your shield runs out.
Okay.
What a
Gores, you start to fall unconscious from this exertion. You're not
Because
used to this level of magic just flowing through you.
Do I need to roll a resilience check?
Sure, go ahead and roll it. You're taking 1 strain, which you were at 1 strain left, so you're going to be unconscious, but let's see if you're able to maintain conscious for a few more seconds.
A new encounter, I can use my once per encounter and I get 2 strain back.
In this case, I'm going to say no to that because we're still technically within the same encounter. Technically.
Well, no, I haven't used it all since the ocean.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, fine. So, as you start to fall unconscious, you feel the touch upon you, and you regain 1 strain. So you're at 1 still. So nothing happens.
Touch.
Let me see here. Let me check my resilience. Oh, God. Okay, here we go. What's the difficulty?
You're not going to have to roll. You're fine.
It's straight.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, yeah.
So that skill is used. You now have 1 strain left, is what I'm getting at. All right. So as you start to fall unconscious and you feel that tap upon your shoulder and essentially you feel a hand on your shoulder, and it feels almost as though there's a hand on the back of your head. You turn around to see what that is. You see your doll that you have crafted so carefully for Penem lying on the ground.
Oh, God. Here she goes again.
But you see a radiant angel standing behind you. Hand on the shoulder, 1 hand on your back, on the back of your head.
I roll my eyes and keep working on potions and concentrating on a barrier. If I could play a hard knock life, I would.
Yeah.
All right, so Kitlin, you're in the middle of rushing back. At this point, you've made it just to the edge of the barrier when it pops up. And you just see a wall of light just kind of straight up to the heavens in front of you. For just a second, you are completely blind. But you don't feel fear at being blinded.
I'm going to wait till it passes, blink it away, and then keep going. Look at the guards and go, we still got zombies to deal with. Get anybody and everybody in this bubble if we can.
Okay. The guards seem to be just jumping at your orders, looking for anybody and everybody in this crisis to lead. And you have direct command over at least these guards here. They immediately begin rounding up survivors and bringing them to the bubble. They don't bring a whole lot as you continue down. As you get closer to where the fire was, more and more lightning begins to strike the buildings around you, blowing them apart. At one point, you see a human being just get struck by this lightning, and for an instant, it's like their silhouette is just lit up before you. And it's a sight you will never forget, because as soon as the lightning is done, you don't see them anymore. They are just gone.
Jesus.
And you're scared of it. Dun, dun, dun.
Right,
So,
keep going.
Kustrak, as you guys are sitting there inside this barrier, you just see the zombies just keep coming, and they are surrounding you at this point. The vampires look around. That's odd.
Demon magic. Of course. Can I move the barrier with me and start working towards the dock where I normally end?
Unfortunately, you cannot. This barrier is not mobile.
It's
Okay.
stationary.
Fair. Yeah. So, how about them local sports teams?
As you become kind of flippant with it a little bit like that, the vampires just kind of look back at you, and the one that saved you just kind of like, maybe I don't particularly like dwarves as much as I thought.
I don't like what?
You're not very observant, are you, good dwarf?
Observing what?
Have you not been observing the horde?
Well, yeah.
What do you notice
Everywhere.
about them?
There's a lot of them.
Look closer than that, dwarf, and you'll see what I mean. And he points out one of the corpses, or the undead. See this one here? This one is wearing traditional townsfolk garb from this city. Now, if you look at this one, and he points out one a few rows back, that one, what do you recognize about its outfit?
I got nothing.
He starts telling you about it. Essentially, the outfit looks like a peasant's outfit, but older, like centuries older. These zombies are not. These zombies come from the realm beyond.
Is this crazy fucking demon magic?
In a manner of speaking, probably. But do you know what that means?
If I cut out, it means my battery died, guys.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Someone opened a portal to the realm. Yeah.
The realm beyond is not an otherworldly plane, good dwarf. It is, quite literally, the realm beyond this one. The one where my lords and lieges protect this kingdom. You're not from this turtle, are you?
Oh, not even a little. I'm not even from the last turtle I was on. I've actually been hopping turtles for. I've done 16 turtles.
So the vampire essentially draws out a very quick sketch of the turtle, and I'm going to swap to the other map so you can see this personally. And as you look at the map, he outlines 3 distinct cities: Alba Lulia, Peles, and Fagaris. Those 3 cities, along with the river next to Cebu, are what keep those undead from getting to Diva. If those undead are here, what does that mean?
Say Cebu.
Dead are here. Those guys are supposed to be protecting investment. Means they all died.
Quite possibly, good dwarf. But what does that mean more specifically to our current plight?
We're all gonna die.
You might. The undead don't particularly care for us. We don't have living blood for them to consume, as it were.
We are. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm very sad. Very confused. I've been unconscious 6 times in the last 4 hours.
Then I'll forgive you, good dwarf. Kitlin, while they're discussing this, and your barrier is starting to flicker, by the way. Kitlin, you managed to make it back to here where you see a plethora of undead in this city.
Oh, shit.
As you kind of look from your elevated position, because I'm assuming you went back to the rooftops for safety.
Oh, yes. Yes. Not stupid to run through the street.
Yeah, you've got onto the roof enough that I figure that's your preferred terrain.
It totally is.
As you kind of have run through the city, you've seen like small pockets of them, but the closer you get to like the market and where Kustrak is, they seem to be almost drawn to that area. And as you're looking around, you're realizing kind of the same things that the vampires have pointed out to Kustrak. A lot of the undead, while a decent amount of them are from this town, there's not enough people specifically in this town with the amount of time to have had this much horde show up. These have to have been coming from somewhere else. And as you look, you recognize it because you grew up on stories about the other lands.
Yeah.
So
stories just keep us in bed.
Yeah, and then as you kind of go through, you're like, huh, the stories didn't do it justice.
No, it didn't.
So, and that's about the time you come upon the sea of undead between you and the vampires and Kustrak, who thankfully you're happy to see is actually up and mobile.
I'm gonna scream there. I'm gonna scream to Kustra from above.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a skills. Let's see here.
Yeah, scream! Scream so the sea of undead will hear you.
Kustrak,
I'm on the building.
Kustrak, roll me a perception check. The difficulty is going to be hard due to just you're not listening for this, and there's a lot of like undead around you that are very
There's a lot of
loud.
moaning going on.
Unfortunately, between the storm, the zombies, just all of it, you catch a faint sound that sounds something like your name, and you kind of look around, but you don't necessarily actually see Kitlin.
Alright. If he doesn't see me, I'm going to take a couple of pebbles and I'm going to throw them both simultaneously at the same time, one after another. Because I don't have my daggers.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
flinging them at Kustrak to try and like hit him with them? Okay.
Try and get his attention. Not hit him hard, but get his attention.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a ranged attack. You're going to be at long range, so this is going to be a hard check.
Alright, got it. So, 3 purple.
Yep.
Again, I rebooted my computer, so my internet's a little faster.
No worries.
Range, and can I use skullduggery to do this?
No, because you're using an improvised weapon,
That's
quote
fine,
unquote.
that's fine. My range is a yellow and 2 green and 3 purple, right?
Yes.
Okay, making sure.
Okay.
Shit!
The pebbles completely miss. However, tink, 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 you hear as these pebbles just kind of hit the ground before you. Go ahead and roll a average perception check to see if you can find out where they came from. Because somehow they're piercing the barrier, so you're like, oh shit, undead with technical skills. Yikes. Okay. Unfortunately, the rain is starting to get worse, and you guys are, and you're not able to look through it to find where those pebbles came from. Though you happen to know they kind of came from the direction of the docks.
Mm-hmm. So,
Does he know?
barrier's about to go, and well, there's almost enough they could take me. I think we should figure out a different way to fuck out of here.
I agree, good dwarf. I think our safest route, and he just literally grabs you by the back of your armor, and just they both, with you in tow, leap to the top of a rooftop next to you, and just boop, straight up, and you feel your boots just clunk down on top of a roof tile that slides off for a second, and you almost lose your balance and fall off. But thankfully, he's still holding on to you, and he steadies you as you stand on the rooftop. At this point, you are now able to see Kitlin. And that's exactly, as you guys see that, the barrier collapses, and the zombies just push forward into a big, cohesive like mess right below you.
Kitlin, that building almost killed me. See, I'm dead.
Barrier, now.
I don't think I should.
The vampire turns towards you. Your friend has been beaten and bruised and in all manner of just abused. I don't think he quite understands, and he points towards the main barrier that Christine is kind of indicating, that is where you want him to go. So he picks you up and tosses you towards Kitlin with perfect accuracy.
Nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate the understanding.
The vampire takes the sword, salutes, and then just kind of they bound away across the rooftops and disappear into the rain.
I bow to him real quick and then run.
I haven't been thrown around this much since I was with that giant woman.
They toss the dwarf.
Nobody tosses a dwarf! Alright, so anyway, you guys start making your way carefully back to the docks, and eventually you guys actually pass through the barrier. Where you guys meet up with Gores, who, at this point in time, Gores, you have probably produced enough of the of the medicine stuff to get the city. at this point, because it's been
Well,
quite a few hours.
So since the storm is still raging and I'm at 1 strain, I'm just going to continue to maintain the barrier if I have enough potions.
Okay.
That's all I can do. I mean, I can't cast spells if I just squeak. If the barrier goes down, we're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Penem steps forward. Master, I might have a solution so you may rest.
Okay.
I believe myself and maybe another of my kind can maintain your barrier at least for a few hours. And you see, as she says that, you see a fire in her eyes that you haven't seen in a very long, at least a week to a couple of months at this point.
Oh, yeah. The fire that was in her eyes before she got smited? Yes.
So, if that is okay, I will bring my brethren and we will maintain what you have created. Give you time to rest.
I take a deep breath and say, very well, and move my hand like tisk tisk.
Penem looks at you very strangely, but turns, like, essentially maintaining a grip on your shoulder. She almost like half turns, and you see, like, through the storm, other beams of light begin to kind of pierce, and you would expect to see like multiple angels appearing, but you don't. Your angel specifically, actually, you hear a small, and you see a male step out of the light. Penem immediately drops to a knee. Dominions. Penem, why have you summoned our brethren to this city? And she just kind of looks at him and begins to... You can't hear what's going on, but you can tell that they're conversing. Around this time is when Kitlin and Kustrak arrive back at the docks.
Can I make my angelic language check to see if I understand what they're saying?
Go ahead and roll just a knowledge check. It's going to be a hard check.
I have knowledge angelic language.
Okay, go ahead and roll it.
Okay. Any difficulty?
Hard. Okay.
Ow.
A lot of their communication is through like a form of telepathy, so you're not able to hear that part. But due to your knowledge and just having been around Penem for at least a little while, you've picked up on certain traits that they do when they're talking. Essentially, you can tell that Penem is essentially appealing to dominions here, while simultaneously he is not very happy about this. You get the sense that she's a lesser angel and he is a higher angel than she is.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to interject and say in their language, this place is worth saving, and if you do, I will owe you one favor.
Penem kind of shoots you like a oh shit, like a startled look, like you would... She's not expecting aid in this way, and she's scared what might happen. Dominions turns towards you. And who might you be, mortal?
I'll stand up and I'm going to say my entire name as I'm trying to attempt to concentrate on this barrier. I want to say doors, blah, 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 yada, 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 the angelic, yada, 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 the demon, blah, blah, blah.
Yakety smacky.
I haven't put it all together yet, okay? But I say it, all right? Just for story,
No worries.
stuff. And then I'll look at him and go, I may be a mortal, but there is strong and there's weak mortals, and I am not weak. So you may talk down to me all you want, but I'm here to save people. which is what your kind is all about. To turn away from this fact, turn away from your immortal enemies. Would you dare do such a thing? And I will tell the story to all. But I do not let out my favors easily.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me. Go ahead. God, this is kind of a tough one because it could go either as like a. I'm going to say intimidate. Go ahead and roll me an intimidation check here.
Oh. Mosquitoes are ridiculous out here.
Well, it's Louisiana. What do you expect?
Yeah, I got one of my. I got one of my. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to look at my intimidation here. I don't see
Coercion or
Jeez.
isn't it coercion?
Is it willpower or its presence?
It would be coercion, yes.
Oh, coercion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm thinking D&D terms. It's coercion is what you need.
Yeah, I was like, hold up, guys, I'm coming. My kids. What's the difficulty?
Daunting.
Fuck you.
Actually, hold on. Let me check here. Yep,
Formidable.
it's going to be a hard. Sorry, hard.
Can I use a story point?
Yep, you may use a story point for this.
Awesome. I'm glad I put a point in that. Wow. I'll take my 3 strain back at 4.
You didn't roll any purples.
Dang it! I just realized that.
Reroll it.
Damn.
I was like, yeah, that's so awesome. Woo!
All right. So you stand up to the Dominions. What's up?
We'll go this way and then cut across and go to our street. We're walking a kid home.
Okay.
Anyways, go.
All right. So you successfully do manage to step up, and he's not. You can tell he is definitely not used to having his orders questioned and to have this happen to him. He apparently doesn't deal with mortals very often. You actually see his wings kind of flick a little as he does that, and he takes a half step back before he comes back with anger in his eyes. Who are you to judge the dominion that I reign over? You who protect one city while I protect countless.
Well, then, this should be even more apparent that you should be helping the city. I am just here as a messenger to let you know. Do you desire? I will give you the favor. If not, then you can let the city burn.
One might ask, mortal, a messenger for whom? The gods or chaos?
No. I'm a deed with chaos. But because I have 2 sides to me that rage war at all times, I must always maintain a checkpoint. So I'm maintaining kids and trying to talk at the same time.
No worries.
I am just merely a messenger asking for help to save this city.
Okay, go ahead and roll a negotiation check.
Oh, God.
Average.
You got this.
Lord. Let's see here. Average negotiation. Okay. Well, this is gonna be tough.
You got it.
Nice.
Wow. Where's Logan? Okay.
The angel, you can see that he's still kind of fuming angry. He's not like burning, I'm going to essentially smite you angry, but you can tell he is definitely not liking how this has gone on. especially now that he has witnesses, because as you're talking about this, the other two have like entered into the area behind you, and the rest of the people here are looking like,
Yeah.
holy shit, he's fighting an angel and winning.
He's arguing with an angel. What the fuck?
The angel looks towards Penem, and you see like his wings start to flutter rapidly, and hers as well. And eventually she just kind of nods towards him. Very well, mortal. I shall stand in your stead. And he just kind of steps forward into kind of roughly where you're at, but not like pushing you out of the way. And he just kind of, as he steps, he brings his hand down from inside of his robe. And in it, you see him clutching a seal, something you have not seen before.
I can't hear you.
Who, me?
No.
Yeah, oh, we go. All right, so he steps up to my spot, and I look at him, and I go, I'll keep my end of the deal. If you ever need something in the mortal plane, I will give you one favor, and then I will fall over and fall asleep.
Okay. As you fall, Penem catches you and guides you more fully to the ground. For the two remaining that are awake, at this point you see him, as he steps forward into place, a shining silver staff just appears in his hand, and he thunks it to the ground. From inside of his robes, another hand comes out, and you see essentially a seal. It almost looks like it's inscribed on stone, but you have never seen anything of its like before. And you just feel a very calm, almost gentle atmosphere take over. And he just stands there with this, like this, and he does not move. He's actually stiller than the statues around that you've seen in the city.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm gonna be one of those one day.
What's going on? I walked into something and I'm not sure what I walked in on.
So, what are you two doing at this point?
Go home? Huh? Okay.
Pouting that I lost my daggers.
Okay.
It's okay. I lost my armor too.
I'm still wounded, but I don't care. Burns on me.
No.
You.
You okay, man? You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay.
He's talking to us.
Hey, come here. I'll carry you, okay?
Oh, I'm aware.
Come on.
I'm gonna find a place to lay down and
okay?
take my first nap in
okay?
what feels like 200 days.
You're
Okay.
Be okay, dude.
As you guys rest, any strain you have is instantly back to normal. So go ahead and bring it up to full. Which includes this one. Okay. Your wounds you're not going to have enough time to heal your wounds normally. If you guys would like to make a medicine check at this point, you're more than welcome to heal any wounds you have. It'll just count towards your total 5 that you're able to do.
Okay. Do you guys want me to make medicine checks on at least Kitlin and me?
Yeah, you two might need it. Gores is doing okay.
You want me to roll my own, or you can roll it for both?
If I roll it for both, that means we both get +1.
Okay, that's fine. Not gonna argue.
And I have proficiency in it. It's a career skill. What's some difficulty in both of our checks?
In this case, because of what you guys are at, sorry, give me a second. It's going to be an easy, so 1 purple.
That's for me. Cool.
So yeah.
That's for Kit. Cool. I get all 4 back, and Kitlin gets 3.
Okay.
All right, so you guys nurse your wound, or you nurse the wounded, aided by some people that seem to know at least a little bit of like medicinal practice, whether it be bandaging or whatever. As you guys rest, and you guys only get to rest like an hour, maybe 2. before, like, you just have like this small rush of people come running in. Mostly children, actually.
Why are there so many children?
Some of the younger ones actually begin to cry, and between their kind of cries and then just kind of meandering through and asking questions of them all, you get the story that their parents were actually taken.
Taken where?
By who?
The
When?
description you guys get is not favorable. Essentially, apparently something rallied the undead while you guys were resting, and the undead, instead of chomping down on the living, began to collect them. So something is in charge of them and are now collecting the living for something.
I figured something was in charge of them anyway.
Okay. Where? What are we? What are we? When are we? Who are we? What are we?
We
What's
need to
going on?
figure out who did this.
Are the two vampire people here?
No, they
Or
took
are
off
they
on their
on?
own. As you
Okay.
guys are saying that, you see a very, very worn out looking Rafik kind of appear amongst the other kids, etc. I might be able to answer who and what.
Stand up and look yourself
Rafik,
alive.
my friend, how are you doing today? It's such a fine, nice day today, isn't it?
Rafik kind of winces as though under immense pain. I can tell you what is essentially who and what is doing this.
Okay, so who and
You-
what?
Are you okay? You need some
No,
bandages.
I'm not okay.
Yes. You need to lay down and rest too.
I can't.
Why not?
Because if we take that time, this city, nay, this turtle, will fall.
That sounds familiar. I wonder
Yeah.
if Fallon has something to do with this. She's gritting her teeth.
Why don't you tell us while I bandage you?
Okay, so you start putting bandages and stuff on the scrapes and cuts, and it looks like somebody got lucky and sliced across like the chest a little bit of Rafik. Sessa happened.
Okay.
Helen, do you know who that is?
Would I know who that was?
Go ahead and roll a lore check.
Difficulty?
Daunting, so 4 purples.
I have nothing in lore.
Unless you have another skill you think might work.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think... Oh, maybe Streetwise would.
Streetwise is not going to be an applicable skill here.
That's fine.
You have a faint inkling you've heard this name before. Something, again, when you were young, but more like from school style stuff. Maybe it was from the church. You're not entirely sure. But you have heard the name. You just can't quite remember where you heard it.
I can't put my finger on it. I've heard it when I was little, but I don't remember where.
Would you like to take a stab at it, Aaron?
Lore check?
Unless there's another skill you think might be more applicable to this.
Well, I have knowledge lore, so.
Alright, go for it.
You might do better than me.
No, only one yellow.
Yeah.
As you think about it, you're suddenly struck with terror. Because you remember exactly who Sessa is. Sessa was the name of one of the demons, one of the great demons, in fact, who should be imprisoned from your history. And when I say one of the... essentially, this one here, if you were to put a level on the demons as far as who's the most powerful outside of like the lead demon, this one's like the 12th down, which means that this one could probably destroy cities at the height of its power.
Demons.
Rafik, seeing that you know who he's talking about, yes, that's Sessa.
How did she get free?
Sessa isn't necessarily a she or a he. It's a monster, to be precise, who made it through the rankings by brute strength alone.
How did it get free?
I have no idea. Maybe this demon...
Horde is coming from.
Apparently, Sessa has figured out a way to bring them from their traditional lands to this city and bind them to itself. Luckily, it seems that they did not actually breach the shores, as I have looked around the city, or outside of this city, to see if there have been signs, and there are none.
So they're just inside the city.
Apparently. Had we seen an actual overrunning like we fear might happen, there would be more signs outside the city. We would see more undead marching.
Yes, you would.
And where there are none, I come to the conclusion that this is for this city alone, though I do not know why.
Where are they? I mean, how did they get into? We need to find where they're coming from and stop it. How they're getting directly into the city.
I might be able to help with that, but we must go soon. If we do not stop Sessa, this city will fall.
My armor. I need my armor.
I think we'll have at least an hour to prepare. Go get what you need, and we will meet. And Rafik gives you a place that you guys should be able to find within the city.
Okay.
Especially Christina, because you've been in this city a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Kit, how are we going to get your armor and your daggers?
I have no idea. I lost my daggers in that fight.
As you say that, several of the guard, they don't really acknowledge it, but several of the guards start, or one of the guards starts going around, and he literally collects daggers, and he just brings them to you. For the common good of this city, we will donate these to your cause.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Easy. Okay.
The guard that gives it, you actually recognize him. He's the first one that ever arrested you. At this point, he's actually looking at you with a mixture of who knew she would turn out this way? And then also a mixture of awe, wow, she really turned out this way.
Aww.
What does that say about the rest of us who are too scared and wetting our armor at the moment?
This is true. I've gone out in that place with zombies 3 times to find my friends and destroy this army. I told you guys I changed.
After tonight, I just might believe it.
Just might or would believe it?
We'll see if you're successful. If not, we're all dead anyway, so it doesn't really matter what I think. At least according to your friend there.
At least have something to believe in.
I do. I believe in the afterlife. And meeting my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many daggers is there?
Essentially, you've gotten 14.
Ooh! Oh, thank you. Has anybody seen Heath? He was doing some stuff for us, and I fear the worst for him, too, and his wife.
Unfortunately, we have not, as they kind of look around, and this takes about 5 to 10 minutes, it comes back with, sorry, we haven't seen Heath here.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll prove you right. I will do good for the city.
The guard just nods. The other guards, you can see them all just kind of partially nod as they look, kind of continue watching the crowd. At this point, too, they've actually taken up kind of station around the dominions. That way, he cannot be interfered with.
Yeah, because people are going to be curious.
Yep.
It's
He still does not move. Like, he has not twitched this entire time.
I can't wait to be an angel like him. When I'm reincarnated, I'll be an angel. First word, hubbub.
Okay. So, at this point in time, what would you guys like to do?
Did I get any breastplate or anything like that?
Any what?
Breast.
If you're trying to get new armor, I mean, you could try and like borrow some from the people around you, but it's not going to be very well fitted to you.
Yeah. I think I'll be okay now. I'll find a way.
Does the barrier go to where we need to go?
The barrier extends close, but not close enough for you guys to walk unimpeded necessarily. You don't know what's in the craftsman district where your guys' stuff is being done. You're going to have to just go and find out if you're wanting to collect and check up on people.
Alright, we're going to have to go out there. I've got daggers.
We should go find my armor. I think it'll be at least semi-useful. If there's too many, we'll just avoid it and call it lost cause, but it never hurts to check you.
Ah, my head! And you guys look over and there's Rafik just kind of clutching his head.
Potion!
Do you have the...
Not clutching his head like you've seen before, Christina. This doesn't look like the disease.
Okay.
Rafik, at this point, several people come forward and he just elbows his way out and he just bolts, headed for the edge of the barrier.
Demon.
And I don't know what you guys are doing, but if you're following, let me know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna head towards, was my stuff in this market that was invaded?
The armor smith was actually like right over here, roughly.
Okay, that's what I thought. And that's one that was like super worthy, right?
This area was worse off. So like the craftsman where the jeweler is would possibly be worse, depending on the spread of the zombies.
Okay. Yeah, I want to head that way, kind of.
Okay, so Kitlin, you follow Rafik. Kustrak, you're heading for your armor. Kitlin, unless you're both following and then gonna split away from him, or whatever.
I'm definitely gonna stick with Kitlin. I do not want to be alone.
All right. So as you guys follow Rafik, Rafik eventually makes it to the end of the barrier. By the time he is out of breath. He just looks sick to his stomach. He steps out of the barrier and immediately throws up, just right there on the stones. Rafik then sits down on a crate and just is wheezing and wheezing and wheezing, and then it just slowly starts to go back to normal breathing. The color returns to Rafik's face, and eventually, in about 10-15 minutes, Rafik looks mostly back to normal.
You okay there, bud?
Much better.
So, you a demon?
Rafik just kind of looks up at you sharply. What makes you say that?
I mean, anti-demon barrier, you getting caught in the barrier, you know?
I mean, sometimes dark
Who are
magic
you, idiot?
have its way.
At this point, Rafik just kind of looks at you. Don't you have armor to collect and a city to help save?
That's the way to avoid the question. Off we go. An hour.
I'll go with you to the armor, and then we're going to go to the jeweler.
Okay. So you guys start heading that way. Go ahead and roll me a streetwise check.
Sweet. What's the difficulty?
Got this, kid.
The difficulty here is going to be hard.
All right, so 3 purple. Great. I got this.
Yep.
What?
You find the safest path towards the armor smith.
I got this.
When you guys get to the armor, where the armor smith is, the shop is partially collapsed. Just judging by the burn marks on the side, apparently, and the small crater in the ground next to where the charring is, apparently one of the lightning bolts struck the side of the building and the street below it. So it didn't completely collapse it, but it did damage the building pretty good.
Are there any zombies around?
No, there do not appear to be any zombies around you.
Fuck yeah. I don't like rush it, but I like look down some and like kind of work my way towards the group if I find my.
Okay.
I look for any daggers, maybe, that perchance there is happen to be one while I'm around.
All right,
Could be
so
magic.
you guys look around. And Christina, unfortunately, you're not really finding usable weaponry. Most of the stuff that you would have collected, dagger-wise, etc., is buried under the rubble. Kustrak, on the other hand, luckily for you, basically on the far side of it, you see what looks to be your new plate mail. It has been etched in the way that you'd like, as well as form-fitted to you. It takes about 15 minutes to don, but once you don it, it feels as though it was, and it was, literally made for you.
Gotta look up some stats. Yeah. I start strutting around like, oh yeah, look at my new armor.
As you
time to strut. Let's go.
as you wander to, you find that there's a space in the back where you could place your battle standard just like you had before, and you now have essentially an etched and painted symbol to Habuk right on your chest.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, this guy is a really good handworker. Could pay him eventually.
If he's alive. If he's alive.
Hey.
All right, so Gores. At this point, the group has kind of chased after Rafik and then headed for the armor smith where Kustrak's armor was being made, and he also found it. So what would you like to do during this time?
I don't know where they went or what happened. I mean, I was here to hear what happened, but I am waking up and I'm going to take back over the spell like I promised the angel I would.
The Dominions, as you kind of step forward, Penem steps between you two. Dominions will hold the spell. We are needed elsewhere.
Very well. I'll ask Venom to fill me in, like, they found out whoever the guy is that may be doing this.
Yes. Essentially, she gives you a name. Ceres.
Perfect. So I'm gonna still catch my breath. Do you want me to roll a cool check or how much?
You're fully healed. You've had a couple hours to actually re-heal.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cast a spell to see if I can locate where he is using that the bowl of water again. Divination, man. Whoop whoop.
Divination. Pipe.
Okay. Unfortunately, it appears that it will not work.
Dang it. I didn't even have to roll. That's so good. That's how strong this guy is.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not able to look, is essentially what it boils down to. There's apparently some form of greater magic going on that you're not necessarily going to be able to get your way through.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and, well, I don't know where my group's at, because they left before I woke up.
No, you woke up with them. You could follow them if you would like.
Oh, well, I was here the entire time they took off and all that.
Essentially, they just followed Rafik out of the area. That's essentially what they did, and then they headed for the armor smith.
Alright, I'm gonna go find out. I'm gonna go locate. Can I say I just chased after them and I'm there with Raznik now?
With Rafik?
Yeah, Rafik.
Yeah, that's fine.
Who's Rafik again?
Rafik
guy-
is the guy that you brought into existence.
Oh, that guy.
Yep.
Yes, that guy.
What's you want to go back in the barrier with me, Rafik?
Rafik kind of is like, we have a job to do, Gores. Must we go back into the barrier when our job is not there?
Oh, I just thought you enjoyed a little bit of pain and whipping, all.
Rafik just looks at you in...
Light as an angel, but as mean as the devil.
Rafik looks at you and does not look very happy with you.
Well, I don't care. I'm gonna go, so what's this job you speak of?
Saving the city. Isn't that what you wanted?
Oh, who told you that, Rafik? Maybe I just didn't want to do my job anymore and asked an angel to do it. I just start laughing manically.
Then you're far more demonic than I thought you were.
Oh, that's what they say. And I have my mask on, and it's kind of weird because my mask turns from a sad face into a beaming, happy face.
Right.
Which is kind of disturbing. I'm going to go, Rafnik. Why don't you join me? And I'm gonna start skipping my way into the city.
Okay. Rafik just kind of looks at you like, why the hell did I team up with this group? But otherwise,
I need your Rafnik. Tell me, you were a really bad guy. Would you be? Give me 1 second. Can you please clean your all's room? There's like popcorn and crap all over the floor. Thank you. I don't. Is those your shorts? Okay. So I'm gonna turn to Rafnik and go. If you were an evil type of sorcerer type being, I smile underneath my mask. Where would you be in charge of this undead board?
I don't have to wonder. I know where that is, and we're going to be meeting your friends there as well.
Well, then let's carry on, shall we? Lead the way, Rafnik. And I blow him a kiss.
Rafik does not look very happy, but begins leading the way.
I start whistling a tune. I start whistling, hold up. I'm gonna whistle Taylor Swift's new song about, you're being too loud.
Okay. As you begin to whistle, Rafik's like, you may wish to cease that. The undead might hear you, and if they don't, Ceres will. And if Ceres hears us, then all is lost.
Oh, shucks, you're such a party pooper.
So, at this point, you guys, I guess, reconvene together at the agreed location that Rafik has stated. And you guys get there. Is there anything special you guys would like to prepare before we move into this next stage? Anything you need to find, buy, whatever?
I was going to the jeweler, but it's all good.
If you want to hit the jeweler up, you can try and hit the jeweler up.
Okay. Because I'm bound and determined to find some daggers that will return to me, but I doubt I will.
Nah, you're not going to find that at the jeweler's.
I know. Maybe the enchanter.
Yeah, that'd be a better bet there.
Alright, then I'm going there.
Okay. So you head towards the enchanters, which apparently is the only building that hasn't been touched, essentially.
What?
Not for lack of trying, though. You see beams like leaning up against the building-ish, but as you look, it's not actually touching the building. Apparently there's a barrier around it.
Impressive. Yeah. Okay. I'll go in.
As you go in, the door tinkles, and essentially this is what you're met with. Let me see here. Which one is it? Okay, this one. Let's see, I don't know if I have you guys on this map yet, so give me just a moment.
It's all good. We're black.
Let's see.
It's darkness.
Yeah, all black.
So
There we go.
Alright, this is what you see.
Okay, I'm going to look around.
Okay, go ahead and move to where you're looking.
I'm going to look here first. You know what I'm looking for, Kusra.
What are we looking for?
Daggers that will return to me. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Let's also look for potions.
Healing potions might be a good thing too, since we don't have
Yes.
any.
We don't have any money, though.
Yeah, it's too
Still
bad
don't
nobody
have-
went to the jeweler.
I was headed to the jeweler.
Yeah, until I told you wouldn't find your daggers there, and then you're like, oh, okay, we'll go somewhere else.
Go to the jeweler first and get my money, and then go to the tuner.
It's a little late for that.
Anyway, I'm gonna steal away. Convince them, hey, we're saving the city. Pay you when we're done.
Okay, so you wander towards the fireplace. You kind of look around. It looks like a traditional fireplace. There's really nothing special about it.
Wait. Ground over there.
All right, so Kustrock, when you look at the table, essentially you see documents, etc. It appears to be like just different like incantation stuff. Not really something you can really decipher because you don't really use arcane. But you know that it's definitely about magic.
Definitely magic shenanigans.
Yep.
Well,
Christina, as you kind of look through that case there, essentially you come across like different potions. They're labeled, but they're labeled in a language that you don't understand.
Wish I had somebody that spoke Arcana over here. Yeah, no. I'm gonna just search around until I find what I'm looking for. If I find what I'm looking for.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a perception check to see if you can find it. It's going to be a formidable check.
Damn it!
Actually, formidable with 5 reds.
Nick.
They don't have a lot of, like, call for unlimited daggers.
I'm gonna use
Come on, I
a
believe in
story
you.
point and upgrade one of those to a yellow.
That's fine.
I believe in you, Christina.
I'm just curious to see if she'll be able to do it. No.
No, not even a little. Two critical failures. Oh no.
As you kind of go through, Christina, you kind of start rifling through this box of like gems and like art, like it looks like odds and ends and baubles essentially. You are immediately blasted backwards into the wall behind you at a fairly rapid pace. Go ahead and roll me a die 100 and add plus 10 to it.
Okay. 75.
Okay, so as you fly back, your heel catches on another barrel, and you hear a very nasty snap.
Ah ha ha.
Essentially, what this means for you, you cannot do your second maneuver under any circumstances
Good.
until this critical injury is healed. Oh, take that back. You can't do your free maneuver. You can spend 2 strain to move, but you cannot do a free maneuver. So you get 1 maneuver, and it costs you 2 strain every time you move. And that'll be in combat only, not in narrative.
Okay.
All right, so Kustrak, from where you're at, go ahead and roll me a perception check, because I'm assuming you're looking for potions in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll me a hard perception check.
Is Ray.
And you're actually going to be stunned against this wall over here, Christina.
Okay.
So give me just a second. Okay, so you start kind of rifling through those areas. Some of it you don't recognize, but you know better than to touch, because you know that magic isn't necessarily something to be trifled with. And you do find a couple of potions. The main one you find is a pale red elixir in a crystalline bottle. Essentially, and you'll have actually 2 of them that you're going to find here. And it seems almost as though it's moving within the bottle. So, let's see here. And the second one you find... Alright, the other one is a pale blue liquid. And inside of it, as you kind of look at it, you see little flashes of lightning, is what it almost looks like. And those are the 2 potions you find on the shelf that you're like, oh, maybe these are going to be useful.
Can you describe the first one again? The pale red one.
The pale red one appears to be moving on the inside, and it's in a crystalline bottle. The other one is just kind of a regular stoppered vial, something you'd expect to see a potion in, and it appears to be light blue with lightning going through it.
I have 2 of the red ones and 1 blue, right?
You have 1 red and 1 pale blue.
Yep.
Okay. I do like to see if I know any more about what these specifically are.
Go ahead and give me a knowledge. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check. It's going to be alchemy. Let me think. Yeah, roll me an alchemy check, and it's going to be a hard check. You can decipher that one of them is a regeneration elixir, which would probably be the red one. The blue one you think is a speed potion. Unfortunately, you're not sure if you might be getting those mixed up. It might be the other way around. It might be the healing one the regeneration one is the blue one, and the red one might be the speed potion. You're not entirely sure.
I will have Coors look at this
Okay.
when I get back to Coors.
All right. So around this time is when you suddenly hear a small bang and a large thud as Kitlin hits the wall. Looking over the railing from where you're at, you see her essentially bleeding. Well, not bleeding, but you see her leg. One of her heels is starting to swell up very well.
Kitlin, you dumb bitch. What the fuck did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Why are you over there?
Can't help it. Magic happens.
Right around that time, Kitlin, your ankle starts to throb something terrible.
boy.
You idiot. I come down and give her like a splint or something that would help a little bit alleviate pain.
Are you going to try and actually heal her critical injury, or are you just going to give her the splint?
I'm just gonna give her the splint. If I can do it as a medicine check and not a magic check, because I feel I'm gonna kill my magic.
You can definitely do a medicine check to see if you can heal the injury.
Okay, we'll do a medicine check.
Alright, so the difficulty of said check, it was 75, is going to be average.
Oh, average.
Yep.
Nope.
God
I'm cursed.
damn.
I'm cursed tonight.
What did you get?
I got 3 advantages.
You realize that it's going to take a little more than what you have available at the moment to heal it. But when it comes time to heal it again, you're going to get a boost to the check.
Okay, mark that down, Kitlin. So you don't forget when I try and heal you eventually. Oh, I should eat real food.
Yes, you should. Alright, so
I bet.
what we're going to do right now is take a break for a second. Everybody go grab some food, go to the bathroom, and then we'll begin the next step in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Be prepared for
eating
something
nothing but-
slogging.
Oh, goodness. I've been eating nothing but beef jerky and donuts for today, and cup of noodles, so I need to eat, like, a sandwich.
Alright. We're going to take a 15-minute break, so do what you guys need to do.
Mm.
Because I need some time, too, to prepare for this next bit, because I set it up. Alright, move that out of the way so I can do this without the recording catching it.
What, you don't want to go watching the recording and getting all the info?
Well, you're not going to be able to anyway, but I figure it'd be more interesting if I do this where you guys can't see it. And later go, oh, that's what he did. Why does it sound like somebody's freaking doing the toilet?
No, it's just my thing.
Okay. I'm just like listening to it, and I was like, that sounds like a toilet there.
Oh, just my thing.
Me.
When I go to the bathroom, I mute myself.
Nick Dutton.
I do too. I don't want to hear that from you, Christina, because I definitely do.
No, you have in the past.
When I've been forced to talk to you guys, yeah.
Well, you take a 2-minute break.
Oh, this is going to be interesting for you guys.
Oh, that's going to be such a clustercluck.
Yep. Oh, this will be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, Christina. If only you could see what I see. It's actually too bad that Tony's not here, because he's going to miss out on a hell of a fight.
Oh, great, a fight. I might be able to use parry. Holy shit.
I hope you do, because if you don't, you're going to die.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah, just wait. When you guys see this, you're going to be like, what the fuck, dude, really?
You know what? This is a good stopping point because it's almost 10 p.m. And then maybe Tony will be here next week for it.
I'm not going to be able to play next week.
Oh.
I'm in Salt Lake all next week.
All right, sounds
I do
good.
think it's a good stopping point, though. I agree.
All right, so do you guys just want to call it for tonight?
That's up to you.